What's up guys, Ben Kohler, the Tackle Otaku with the Hookup Tackle. Today we are here to talk about a brand new jackhammer. This is the Evergreen Jackhammer Stealth Blade. Brand new to the market. It's a new addition to the lineup. Now, if you've been bass fishing for longer than like 3 seconds, chances are you have thrown, or at least heard of, the Evergreen Jackhammer. Arguably the greatest chatterbait ever created, has definitely taken the world by storm. And this new edition of the Stealth Blade is a very welcome addition. So today we are going to break down the new Stealth Blade, explain the differences between the Stealth and the original jackhammer. We're going to talk about what trailers to use, modifications, everything you need to know about the new bait. So if you're ready, let's go. So before we dive into the Stealth Blade, let's re-examine for a minute the original jackhammer. So the original jackhammer has several things about it that make it just incredibly awesome. And one of the big things is it has a stainless steel blade that's really big for the size of the head. And what that blade does is it allows it to clack on the head. So when you hear this thing underwater, it really sounds a lot like a jackhammer. It's making all kinds of this knock noise. It also vibrates really hard, and because of the width of the blade, it allows anglers to use 4 and 5 inch trailers on the back of this thing. So this is normally how you would probably see 90% of the jackhammers in the world would be with a Yamamoto Zako trailer on the back of it. The Zako was designed for the jackhammer. It's just a perfect combination, right? Well, the new Stealth Blade is a much smaller blade offering. And if you see these two side by side, the actual head is the same on both, but the blade is much, much different. So instead of using a big stainless steel blade, the new Stealth Blade is incorporating a polycarbonate blade. And so it's smaller, it's clear, it is reinforced with a stainless steel piece on the inside and then a steel O-ring. So this blade is going to be much more finessey. It's going to have a harder vibration, but because it's smaller, it's going to have a tighter vibration. So you have to kind of change the way you fish this guy, you have to change the way you think about this guy, and then you also have to start playing with trailers, because the same full-size trailers like a Zako, 5-inch Death Hatter, Super Fluke, those types of baits don't really work the same on the Stealth Blade. They change the action. So we have to downsize our trailers a little bit to match this dude. Now, the idea behind the Stealth Blade is pretty simple. Fish love the jackhammer, they love the original jackhammer, but there are times when they get really finicky. Maybe they've seen a bunch of chatterbaits come through. Maybe they're at the beginning stage of just moving shallow, or at the end stage before they move deep, and they get a little bit tough. We've all experienced it, right? You're catching them, all of a sudden it just gets a little bit tough. That's where the Stealth Blade is really going to come into play. It's going to get you a few extra bites, or continue your bite on when everybody else is throwing the regular chatterbaits and the regular jackhammers. You can also utilize this bait in different ways that you haven't been able to utilize a regular jackhammer before. Because it is so stealthy, because it's much quieter in the way the blade moves, because it's a smaller profile and we can use smaller trailers, we can really fine-tune and mix and match this dude to look much more like a smaller natural bait fish, and we can fish it in ways more in open water and do different things with it. The Stealth Blade is also designed to hunt. So when you see this thing move underwater, when you get to a certain speed, not only will it vibrate side to side, but it will also kind of do this hunting motion, which is an incredible action for triggering bites. Hunting crankbaits like original Wiggle Warts, Megabass S Crank, just to name a couple, have been incredibly valuable in triggering strikes for fish where you can't necessarily be banging it into grass or banging it into rocks, and you need to be fishing it in more open water. And this dude will deliver if you set it up correctly. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of dive through the lineup. There's only 6 colors, 2 sizes, so it's a very easy lineup. It's not overwhelming at all. We're going to talk about some of the trailers that we find really fit best on it. I think you guys will like it. You'll definitely catch more fish. So first color in the lineup is Clearwater Shad. Okay, and Clearwater Shad is just a natural, very lifelike, pretty transparent shad profile. And what we find with this dude is the combination of the clear blade, the clear skirt, we find that matching it with this is an OSP HP Minnow. This is a 3.7 inch size. It looks incredibly lifelike in the water. It's very natural. When the fish are feeding on smaller bait and shad and they need something, you know, just less intrusive, this is a great combination. It works great. Another thing to mention that I didn't mention before is that this is a different hook than what the original jackhammer has on it. So Brett Height and Evergreen got together with Decoy, and Decoy custom designed a special fluorine coated hook on here. So it's kind of like a Zoe wire would be if you're familiar with like a owner. So it's got a coating on it, so it penetrates very easily. It's a little bit lighter wire, so you can get away with fishing this thing on lighter line. You don't have to be throwing it on 20-pound, your big heavy rod, or braid in your big heavy rod. You get away with throwing this thing on 12 or 14 or 16-pound line now, and the hook will still penetrate well. Okay, so there's clear watershed. Next up in the lineup is green pumpkin. So green pumpkin has been the staple for years and years and years, and we have this guy paired up with a 4.2 inch Hazedong shad for Megabass. So this is a great combination. A lot of guys don't think of the Hazedong shad as a trailer, but it makes a great one on the back of a finesse vibrating jig or chatterbait like this dude. Up next is one of my favorite colors, and this is Spot Remover. Now Spot Remover is another clear water color. It's very clear, transparent skirt, and it's got just a little hit of chartreuse in it. And we have this paired up with an OSP DoLive stick Spec 2. This is the 3.5 inch. Okay, trailer looks like this. Now the reason the Spec 2 over the original, the action is pretty much the same in both, but the Spec 2 has a little less salt, so it's a little bit more durable, so the trailer just lasts a little bit longer. Now, speaking of trailers, there is a double metal trailer keeper built in, so once you put them on there, they're going to stay on there really well. Okay, next up we have black and blue, and for the black and blue I find that it pairs perfectly with the 4-inch Deps Death Hatter. This one is just a straight black, but the Death Hatter, if you're not familiar with the Death Hatter, if you guys have been throwing the original jackhammer and you haven't been throwing the Death Hatter on it, you're missing out. Okay, so in the original jackhammer, we talked earlier that the Zaco is kind of the standard staple for it, right? The 5-inch Death Hatter will tighten it up. So where the Zaco is going to be more of a swimming motion, the Death Hatter is going to be more of a tighter quiver. So if you need to just tweak your original jackhammer just slightly, you can do so by just going to the Death Hatter, okay? But the 4-inch size works great on the Stealth blade, so that works great. Okay, next up, we have Bee Height Delight. Okay, this is kind of a green pumpkin shad with a little bit of chartreuse. We also have this paired up with the 4-inch Death Hatter. This is more of a bluegill pattern. This is one of our favorite, just to match a bluegill profile. This one's amazing. Now the other advantage of a Death Hatter is a Death Hatter, really all the motion is going to be down here at the very end. So as this thing is vibrating, you just get that little bit of quiver at the tail. So if you're getting a lot of short strikes, if you're throwing this thing and you're missing a lot of bites, the Death Hatter allows you to add a trailer hook and it won't wrap up in your trailer. If you use a softer trailer, like an OSP DoLive stick or something that's got more motion to it, it will wrap around the trailer. It doesn't work so well. Where the Death Hatter is stiffer down to the end, so it allows you to offset that trailer hook. Now for trailer hooks, we use the Decoy Chaser. We find that the 1/0 works perfect on the back of this dude, on the Stealth blade. 2/0's a better option for the original size jackhammer. But it fits great. It sits right over the top of the bait there, and you just have a little rubber keeper that keeps it there, and it allows, once the fish is hooked, the hook can swivel and they'll stay pinned. And then the last color is green pumpkin shad. So it's a half green pumpkin, half shad. This dude works great with the OSP DoLive stick as well. We actually have the OSP Action trailer on the back of this, which is one of my favorite little trailers. And it fits it great, both action and color-wise. All right, if you guys have any questions, you can shoot me some questions down below in the comments. We will put links to all of these products down below. And as always, thank you for joining. Until next time, peace.